Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of A2Y. I'm your host, Addison Young, as always and forever. And I am recording this episode on Good Friday, one of the most important holidays in all of Christendom. It is the day that Jesus Christ died on the cross to pay the price that we can never pay. And he turned the cross into one of the greatest symbols in the entire world. You got to think about it. Back in Jesus' day, the cross was a symbol of death, grief, and despair. Only bad things went up on there, and bad things happened when it was around. And it's also very important to note that when you died on a cross, it was one of the most painful ways to die. It was not pleasant by any means. In terms of ways to die, it's one of the worst by far. You're being strung up by your hands extended out and on your feet. And the way that people actually died on a cross was that they would drown due to all the weight being pressed onto their chest from the way you were hanging. So, in order to live at all the longest you could, you would pull your hands and push on your feet to pull yourself up, be able to breathe, and to continue going on. And you got to think you're pulling yourself by open wounds on your hands and feet. One of the worst ways to go. And this is after he was beaten and bruised and broken. And yet, when he came back to life 3 days later, he turned one of the worst symbols in the world, the cross, known the symbol of death and grief, into a symbol of eternal life. One of the greatest ironies in human history, really, when you think about it. And the just a few days earlier, there was a song released by Maddie Mullins called "Nails," and the first two lyrics of the song are, "Where was the army of angels when the crowd yelled crucify?" See, Jesus could have avoided dying on that cross with great ease. He wasn't just some guy who died on there. He was the Son of God, who was able to relieve blindness and heal the crippled. He was easily strong enough to get himself off the cross, the commander of the army of angels that could have come and rid all the people who had him crucified. But that's not how the story goes. Instead, he died and came back 3 days later to give us the ability to go and be with him forever. Right now I'm in an interesting period of my life. I'm actually in a sociology class right now, and we just covered a few things about society's rules and morals. And now, when you really think about it, there's just a bunch of rules and roles that you are oppressed into as society. And if you really think about it, you can break free from these and live your own and just live according to the self. Now, I have one question for you, and how is that going so far? In today's world, as of April 7th, 2023, there's a lot of people who go out and engage in the self, following desires of the flesh and just of their own mind. And again, I ask you, how is that going? Depression, despair, everything is going up, and very few of those numbers are ever coming down. Every time I look at the news, there's more suicides going on, and the suicide rates are just jumping higher. Yet we're all thinking about the self, we're all thinking about our desires. How is it possible that with all the technological advancement and all the advancement we have so far, that these rates just keep going up? We have more time to think about ourselves. We have easier jobs by now. We have the ability to get better jobs. You can go online right now and find a job with ease. You can go and do all these things, and yet all these rates keep going higher. Could it be that we're looking upon the self for these answers? Could it be that looking into yourself and your own desires is not the greatest thing for you? That you need to seek higher meaning and be able to seek a relationship with Jesus, who died for you to give you a chance at life? Do you think that just looking at the self for all your desires? I mean, right now I'm on a diet, for example. And what I want to do right now is drive to the nearest donut shop. There's one fairly close. Buy a dozen donuts and eat them alone in my car before I even leave the parking lot. But that would not be good for me to down like 15,000 calories in one sitting. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Man, I would totally go for a sugar donut right now. Diet's driving me crazy. But that would even be gluttonous of me to do, to go and down 12 dozen donuts. That is a rule. Do not commit gluttony. I should not go and eat a dozen donuts. So I'm not going to. But we live in a society where, you know what, I have a desire to go eat a dozen donuts. Maybe I should go eat a dozen donuts. Are you starting to see the things that society is telling us to do? Are you starting to see the way the cross is being ridiculed and mocked in today's society? Instead of being seen as the greatest sign of hope and of eternal life, being able to live forever, it's being just seen as bigotry and rules and all kinds of stuff. Maybe we should look and actually see if that's a good thing. Maybe that's how we're being called to live. But that's only a question that you can answer between you and Jesus. You can continue to look to yourself for answers and continue to look to yourself for what you think is best for you. Or you can turn to Jesus, who loved you so much that he died in one of the most painful ways created by humanity so that you could have a chance to live eternally with him. This is Addison Young with A2Y, and I will see you guys next time.